Ladies and gentlemen, now in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the full abilities and synergies for the brand new Cosmic Champion, Odin. And I must admit, he seems very interesting. There's lots of buffs, potentially huge damage output in the right scenario, but I do have a couple of concerns with this character. I feel like he looks a little bit light utility-wise, and also it looks like he needs to take a break after he's won a fight for 1 to 2 fights and kind of recharge and gain his Odin sleep back. So that's something that I'm a little bit worried about, man, because it doesn't look like you can really use him well for every single fight in a quest. And again, this could be a huge pro. He could be very good for boss killing, and this kind of powers him up a little bit. But yeah, it's something I'm a little bit concerned about, because, you know, looking at the top of the Cosmic class, Cosmic Ghost Rider, he's going in, he's blasting everybody. It seems like Cosmic Ghost Rider has more damage output than Odin still, and also a lot more utility. So I do have my concerns. However, there is some cool stuff on his kit, man. He's got some really nice synergies as well. I really like the one with Hela, and we'll talk about that in a bit as well. So anyway, let's start off on the mechanics. So the thing that I was talking about at the start is the mechanic Odin sleep. So at the start of Odin's first fight as an attacker, and every fight as a defender, he gains the effects of Odin's sleep. And also when Odin's teammate wins a fight, so you're going to need to win a fight to gain stacks of this on Odin. At the start of Odin's next fight, gain Odin's sleep effects. So for every Odin sleep that you have, and I think it stacks up to 2 times, at least to the best of my knowledge so far, you gain a massive Fury, giving you 2,500 attack rating. So at 2 stacks, 2 sleeps, that's going to be 5k additional attack on the base of the fight, man. Absolutely huge. And also a massive armor buff as well that gives you 3,150. So this massive armor buff going to make him really good for Havoc, and also like any buffed up nodes as well. Again, Odin has access to lots of buffs, man. However, you know, if you don't have Odin sleep, dude, and you just go into the next fight without it, again, you're going to be missing so much damage output. So yeah, I'm not too sure how I feel about that mechanic, so I'm interested to test him out and see how I find it. But also for recording gameplay videos, it's going to be really annoying, because again, you need to like win 2 fights with another champion to get him fully ramped up again. So yeah, a little bit of a weird one there. And also when you knock down the opponent, or he gets knocked down, you gain an Odin Force charge, and with 2 Odin Force charges, the next attack with an Odin Force effect will consume all of these charges and trigger a bonus effect there. So off his heavy attacks, you gain an energized buff, increasing combat power rate by 10% for 7 seconds, and has a maximum of 1 stacks. But also if you have Odin Force as well, you gain an energized buff as well for each of his unique buffs, increasing combat power rate by a further 5% for 7 seconds, and has a maximum of 5 stacks. Now the biggest thing with Odin is while in striking distance, you pause the duration of all of his personal buffs. So for some matches, this is going to be really good where you can play like very aggressively, stay close to the opponent. I think for like certain characters like Iron Man Infinity War, for example, where you get pushed away with those special attacks, man, this is going to be really annoying, because the majority of his buffs are around like 7 seconds. You can extend them like a little bit further, but yeah, in some matches this is going to be really, really good, and in some matches it's going to be a little bit annoying as well. And also via his special one, so on activation you gain a True Strike buff, ignoring armor, resistance, auto block, and evade effects for 7 seconds. So again, that's actually some really nice utility on his special one. I think that's probably one of the few pieces of utility that he actually does have there. But again, if you can stay very close to the opponent, this is going to be absolutely amazing. But also if you have Odin Force as well, you gain a Bulwark buff, increasing block proficiency by 700 for 7 seconds. So an additional buff there as well. And the special 2 is really where you gain your damage on Odin. So on activation, it pauses the duration of all buffs until the special attack ends, and the last hit deals a burst of direct damage for each buff that you have on Odin that's unique, and this deals 3% of the opponent's max health up to 11,600. So yeah, I think that's going to be quite good for the average final boss in a quest, and also chunkier opponents as well, but it's not really got the reach to go into like Labyrinth or Abyss. If this didn't have a cap, or the cap was much higher, dude, this would be ridiculous. I still think it's going to hit quite hard, but yeah, I'm interested to I'll see the damage, because it looks like you can get so many buffs on Odin. So consistent like 100k special 2s I think should be very regular for Odin there. But yeah, I'm very, very interested to see that. And also, if you have Odin Force as well, it refreshes the duration of all personal buffs on Odin. So that is another way to maintain your buffs as well. But again, your buffs only have 7-second uptime, but while you're close to the opponent will remain paused. And then via special 3, you gain a copy of all personal buffs Odin has gained at any time during the fight. So this allows, if you've got one stack of Odin Sleep to gain like double Fury, double Armor Break, so it gets you up to the 2 stacks there, and also gain an Extend buff, increasing the duration of all buffs by 25% for 15 seconds, and has a maximum of 1 stack. So yeah, I think this can synergize really, really well in longer fights, especially with like the additional buffs off the Heavy and Special 1. So yeah, the Special 3 seems really, really nice. Might take a little bit to get into there, but again, you're going to have a lot of buffs that are going to have an extended duration coming out of that special 3. So yeah, I think it's going to have a pretty solid use. And also we do have his pre-fight and crossfight abilities. So he can place a crossfight ability on the next fight from the pre-fight screen, and the next teammate, excluding Odin, that enters that fight gains this crossfight ability, lasting the entire quest. So there's an aptitude buff, increasing the potency of Fury, Armor Up, and Precision buffs by 13%. Again, really good for all sorts of Cosmic champions. Anybody that relies on Fury can gain even more damage. I'm not too sure if these stack up, by the way. A little bit curious to see if they do. If they do, that'd be absolutely broken, man. If you get 3 of those on like Cosmic Ghost Rider, or just like Hyperion, anybody that has like a massive Fury buff could be very, very fun. But worst case scenario, it's more damage for already broken champions there. And there's also a protection buff as well, which prevents characters from taking more than 18% of their maximum health from a single source. However, this is removed when struck by a special 3. And then you got the Stormbreaker buff, which reduces shock damage by increasing shock resistance by 80% there. So that one is going to be good for all sorts of annoying shock nodes and scenarios. But I think Silver Surfer gaining the additional buffs, and I think Angela as well with her new armor break mechanic. Again, there's going to be a couple of interactions that work really, really well with this pre-fight ability. But again, none of these can go on Odin himself. They're all given to teammates as well. So yeah, I'm a little bit curious to see how these work. But yeah, they seem fun and interesting for the most part. And also basically allow like any character, I would assume, to counter the buffed up node as well. And then next up we got his awakened ability. So whenever he gets knocked down or his opponent is knocked down, if the opponent has any of the following buffs, Odin gains a corresponding buff. So it's kind of like Morningstar's awakened ability, but the criteria is on knockdown you gain the corresponding buff. So there's a Fury buff, an Armor Up buff, Physical Resist buff, Energy Resist buff, and also Crit Resist buff as well. I think in the majority of scenarios it's really going to be the Armor Up and Fury they're going to be accessed. Like, I don't know too many champions that have like a crit resist buff. There are like certain nodes and scenarios. But yeah, they are a little bit rare for the most part. So yeah, interested to see exactly how good that is. It doesn't seem like amazing on paper though. And again, the Fury is not too much. It's 650, so it's like a nice little bonus, but not absolutely essential there. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this one functions. Then next up, we got the Synergies. So he's got one with Mephisto. So for each living teammate, he gains 5% attack rating. And Mephisto, for each KO'd teammate, gains 5% attack rating. So this one is a nice little inverse of the other two characters there. We also have one with Thor, Loki, Hela, and Angela. So Thor and Hela gain plus 5% buff duration for each fight the team has won. And Loki and Angela gain plus 5% buff potency for each fight the team has won. Now, I was thinking in longer stuff like Incursions, maybe Labyrinth of Legends, this could make Angela insane, dude. She could be absolutely ridiculous. If you're winning like let's say like 10 fights, that's plus 50% buff potency, and she's getting like massively buffed up today, so she could be hitting like an absolute truck there. But yeah, that one seems very, very curious, but I think that's big things for Angela there. However, the synergy with Hela is Odin plus 10% attack rating when fighting the final node of a quest, but Hela, while charging a heavy attack, Hela gains twice as many fury buffs. Hela already, dude, if you can play her really well and heavy intercept the opponent, and also have the Nick Fury synergy for a bit of safety, is ridiculous, man. She is so incredibly good. And I think also with a plus 5% buff duration for each fight the team has won, because you're going to have both of these trigger, could be mad. This could be big news for Hela. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how Hela feels with the synergy, man. I'm really excited to test it out as well. And then we also have a new synergy with Heimdall as well. So this gives you a new Heimdall effect. So if you dash back and a whole block, and I imagine this applies to the entire team as well, but I may be incorrect. I'm not too sure if it's just Odin here, but yeah, if you dash back and hold block, you gain a perfect block buff, increasing perfect block chance by 100% for 10 seconds. Now, I'm not too sure if it does, but if this re-triggers off the special 3, man, this could be really good. But it says all personal buffs there, but yeah, I'm not too sure it will in all fairness, but if it did trigger, that's going to be absolutely nuts there, man. And also Heimdall's indefinite fury armor up precision also aptitude buffs gained from charging a heavy attack, gain plus 15% potency. It's nice for Heimdall, but I don't think it's enough to make Heimdall a really good champion. He needs like a bit more than like 15% more damage output, at least in my opinion there. But yeah, I guess it's a little bit more with the aptitude scaling up the fury in all fairness. But yeah, overall, I do think Odin looks good on paper. I'm struggling to see really broken potential just throughout the entire quest. I think on the right fight, again, where he's been able to sleep for like 2 fights, you've got like the 5k fury bonus, and you're hitting like a truck, could be really nice there. But overall, yeah, I'm just curious to test him out, man, because I don't know how I feel about the Odin sleep mechanic. It sounds like a little bit annoying sometimes, but maybe for the average quest, like somewhat useful if you're looking to switch up the team. And I think, you know, buffing up Angela and Hela quite nicely as well. I don't know, man. Could work out really nicely. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on Odin in the comments section below. And if you did enjoy today's breakdown video, please do smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. But aside from that, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.